But first, let me tell you what I believe is unquestionably a miscarriage of justice. Today is the first part of a two-day hearing in the High Court at the Court of Appeal. It's starting from 10:30 a.m. Oliver Campbell's murder conviction is expected to be overturned. Now, I've interviewed Oliver before. Lovely man. He's known as the Gentle Giant. He's been fighting to clear his name for 34 years, and he's hoping that finally justice will be served. Now, some background on this story, because obviously when we hear about murder convictions, we become incredibly emotive, don't we? And immediately, if there's a face, if there's an image, then that's the person. Well, I absolutely categorically believe Oliver is not and was never the person. So some background to this story. On July the 22nd, 1990, shopkeeper Baldev Singh Hundal was shot and killed during a robbery in Hackney, London. Police found a baseball cap near the scene and matched it to one that Oliver owned. He'd recently bought it. It later emerged that it had been stolen from him. At the time, Oliver was a highly vulnerable 19-year-old, and he made his disputed confession after 14 police interviews. He was tried and convicted in 1991. Now, many professionals have since heard that police interview. I've heard it, and I agree with Oliver's supporters that his police confession was conducted under extreme pressure and doesn't stand up to scrutiny. As Oliver said, I was put under pressure to say things I didn't want to say. His solicitor said at the time that his confession would be ruled inadmissible today because of his severe learning difficulties and the fact he had no legal representation when he apparently confessed. He should have at least had an appropriate adult with him. As a small child, Oliver had suffered a very serious brain injury, which left him with the mind of a 9-year-old. He was brought up in care, and he also had a foster mother who he remained very close to. Now, Eric Samuels, who was convicted of the murder, has always said it was not Oliver who was with him. And he went so far as to identify the real murderer. But police this information was not given in court. It was ruled inadmissible. It was ruled as hearsay, and the jury never got to hear that there was actually somebody else that the killer himself had said was responsible. Despite this clear eyewitness evidence, Oliver spent over a decade in prison. It has always been an unsafe conviction. There is no forensic evidence linking him to the scene of crime. And those who know Oliver, including his representatives, say he's simply not capable of conducting such a crime. In fact, in 2015, the local MP wrote to then Home Secretary Theresa May asking for a campaign for justice. Nothing happened. The Criminal Cases Review Commission had previously rejected his case for appeal, despite fundamental questions being, about this very conviction. Oliver has said, I went into prison innocent, I came out innocent, and I've been innocent all the way through. I was put under pressure to confess to a crime I did not commit. The problem for Oliver he is on a life license, which means he can be recalled to prison at any time. So even though he is out and about, he is not a free man due to his criminal record. His barrister, Michael Birnbaum, and I'm going to quote him, has stated much of the police questioning was misleading and unfair. The law and practice regarding the way that mentally challenged suspects and defendants are treated has changed very considerably in their favour. Met Police, of course, the police responsible for the charge are sticking by the conviction. In a statement, Metropolitan Police said the case was fully investigated at the time with a range of evidence brought before a jury. Yeah, except the name of somebody who was actually supposed to be the person responsible. Hopefully, the Court of Appeal will do the right thing. But even if they do, Oliver will not be compensated. It's awful. The government have changed the guidelines so that compensation will only follow if there is absolute proof that he was not responsible. It's terrible, really. So let us hope for Oliver's sake that this is overturned. I believe that we are looking at an innocent man who has been innocent for over 3 decades. And on that note, I'm going to bring in Gemma Cooper.